Something weird just happened. I kind of snoozed off for 20, 30 minutes. And when I was half awake, half asleep, I was in a dream state. I rarely have dreams that I remember. I have visions, but I don't have many dreams that I remember. Again, I'm sure I'm having dreams. It's kind of normal. All right. So I'm laying there and I'm looking at during the Desert Storm, we had the ceasefire. And then a couple days in the ceasefire, after we destroyed some stuff up there, they said, "Sorry, more. We're going to send you with a couple commo guys in this truck, and you're going to go south to Saudi Arabia and build us a stand down point." And, they're going to be people from every line company there, or representatives with every line company doing the same thing. So I went down there and I set it up and I pasted off. And I think I used some engineer tape to mark it, doing my job. That's when I got dysentery because they didn't supply us with food and water the right way. We had bottled water until I went south to Saudi Arabia, and then everything went south. There was some amoebic dysentery. So, but while we're down there, they were building a rec center. It's in Saudi Arabia, northern Saudi Arabia. And they were building a rec center. I never got a chance to use it. A huge one, a real big one. And some other stuff. I don't know what else was going to go in there. And when I'm in a dream state, I recognize it. And it says that rec center is in Iran. I'm not sure, but looking like we're going in. I'm going to get to the point where we build our own facilities there, as far as, assisting them with maintaining. But again, at that point, it was already. And then they finally, I have dysentery. I'm about dead. They're pulling the two commo guys and leaving me down there. So the lieutenant was like, "So I'm going to take you to the medic before we go because we can't leave you like this." So go to the medic. It got brand new ambulances, brand new. There ain't no doubt. And it's just CW, whatever, probably 7 million. He was a Vietnam vet sitting there. We had already talked to him once. He said, "Take 2 aspirins," or something like that. like a week earlier. And he says, "Well, take him to the hospital." I'm looking at him like, I don't say anything. I'm like, have discipline. I'm thinking, you got all these brand new ambulances. I'm sick, and you don't throw me in one of them. You're going to require us to drive in a dump truck or a cargo truck. I can't remember. I think it was a cargo truck. It was the commo truck. At that point, I think it was my former platoon platoon leader, who was now the XO. I think that's who it was. So they're driving me there, and it's getting worse. And if they stop, I got to get out, and I got to squat. So there's one. I actually had to squat in front of a woman officer. I think she was. They stopped her and says, "The hospital this way?" She's like, "Yeah." So they get me there and drop me off there. And they're like, "You're lucky you're here because they did their blood test and blood pressure and all that." And they said, "You could have been dead any minute." And of course, none of that is in my hospital records, my VA records, or medical records. But I know which unit it was. I wish I'd have checked that right after the war. I'm sure I could have found them at that point. They were actually some of the people that were treating the Kurds when they got shot up. That's how my time in there ended without one solid meal. I was gonna have my because I was just watching everybody eat solid meals. I mean, they had like steak and shrimp and like, yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm eating like pudding, well, first like bouillon, and pudding. Of course, the first women I've seen in, how many months. Well, I was married. It wasn't hitting on them. Right. So, but there is, that fact. And then, of course, I'm around the first women I see in months, and I got a toilet next to my bed. I'm my cot, whatever it was. Bad all the way around. So they put me out of there, and they take it. It's like like you read in in all the war novels. They recycle you, so you got to go through the right recycle system, but you got to get back to your unit. So you go to the receptions unit. There's like a reception unit, and I go there, and they actually had food. It was more like burgers and stuff. But that was fine with me. Hadn't eaten solid food in days, probably a week or so, maybe more. So then they grab. So I get out. I have to find my own way back to my unit because everything is just a travesty of error. It's just everything was screwed up as usual. Hurry up and wait, and taking me to the wrong location. Finally, I told them. They dropped me off at 7th Corps, and I said, "Look, I'm not attached to you. You're not going to be able to get me back to my unit." Like, oh, just wait, just wait. And then he looks on the computer, he goes, "Oh, you're not in our system." Like that's what I was telling you. And just as he says that, the reception station, vehicle that dropped me off drives by, so I can't go back to the reception station. So I said to him, I remember 9th Engineers moved in somehow. I think it was 9th. And I said, and I knew they were near us. And I said, does 9th Engineers come up here and pick up their mail? And he goes, yeah. He goes, okay, I can get a ride from them. I'll find my way. So I go through all that and I get back. And of course, now the rumor is that I'm getting over. Now I'm effing off. I'm just doing what they told me, Like they think I'm eating like burger. Well, I did have burgers because I was at the recycle. But they think I'm at the rec center having a blast, like some rear echelon type of thing, like Cobar Towers. And it was just nothing but misery. So I find my way back to my unit. Like the next morning, it's like in the afternoon, evening. The next morning, lieutenant shows up. He says, "Well, I got to take you to the front." I'm like, okay, just doing what you told me. So he takes me up there, and everybody's kind of like, "Oh, wait a minute," trying to razz me. I'm like, nah. So we end up the next day. He takes me up there, and then we drive south, right back to where they picked me up from. So I'm not there to receive them and steer their vehicles where they're supposed to go. I think I did eventually get out and try to explain it. I explained it to them. That's what I'm supposed to do when they would come down south. I would have that engineer taping the lanes and parking spots and everything else marked off. Of course, they asked me to do it because they can trust me to do it. That's the first part of all of this. Now I'm the F off. So we drive south, and like within 24 hours, we're like, "What the hell is this?" I said, "I told you, there's nothing here." They all fantasizing. There's big parties going on in Saudi Arabia. Now, our Motor sergeant did go to a party. He went to Riyadh to pick up an engine or something for one of the vehicles, and he stayed an extra like he probably could go to jail. Could have went to jail for it, but he stayed for a few days. He went out into the. He's a gambleaholic, so he went out to look for a poker game. So he found a poker game, and he found some people to gamble with. Don't ask me how, but he did. And then he taught that he's the guy that told me that there's an underground society in Saudi Arabia. They drink. There's prostitutes. There's gambling. It's like a Bilko, I guess, or something. So yeah, just one big mess. But that rec center that they were building, it said it was in Iran. That is in Iran. So it's kind of maybe it means that that's where we're going to go. I don't know. Again, anything can change within 24 hours or less. All right, maybe I want to put the volume up a little bit. I'm trying to work with some. All right, so we're trying to work with some settings here. So let me see. It looks like it's a little bit low. I don't know if that's realistic or it's just. What's going to happen is I'm going to get offline here because I'm not even on the prayers one, and then we're going to do some prayers. I'll be back in a sec. Stay peaceful.